All right, here we are going live from Manhattan, New York City, live from the heart of the empire. It's Naked City, the big city broadcast with Frankly Fabulous. We got a wonderful show for you today. So much has happened these last few days. Starting to build, starting to get our new life together. Right off the top of the show, I just have to say I fully endorse the dating app Hinge. If you're not on Hinge, get on it right now. It's definitely the best dating app I've ever used. I think it's sort of like a combination of OKCupid, if people remember those days, and Tinder. Because like you kind of have to match. I don't know what's better about it. Maybe my profile's just better, but you have like kind of prompts. You know, you can pick like it's almost like fucking Cards Against Humanity. You pick like a question or a prompt, and then you answer it, or post a picture that's sort of an answer to it. So maybe there's a little more personality involved. Or maybe the algorithms are just not totally designed to make you feel like shit and deprive you of your self esteem. So you'll keep refreshing, keep coming back. The way it just kind of like doles out just so stubbornly, you know, one little drip at a time. The social media validation feed. At least how that felt for me. It doesn't feel that way on Hinge. I'm matching with a lot of interesting people, and we're having great conversations. It's actually going places. This isn't just one message and they fucking like. I think everybody's kind of hot to trot because the attitude for the past couple weeks has been the virus is over, the vaccine is here, restaurants are reopened. People are, I mean, I see it everywhere. People are outdoor dining with no masks on. People are indoor dining with no masks on. It's like, what the fuck do they think is going to happen? Not that many people have gotten the vaccine. They just today opened it up to people over the age of 30. So now I am eligible, but I tried to get on the fucking vaccine finder website earlier to get the Pfizer vaccine at Javits Center, and it timed out because there were so many people on it. So I just got on it right before the broadcast, and now there's no spots left. So the vaccine is sort of like the golden ticket. I think everybody thinks that it's the silver bullet, and they're going to be able to just go back to normal life once they get the vaccine. And certainly the businesses are behaving that way. I mean, it's very obvious to see how that's going. It's just this up and down, up and down. We see it all over the world. Right now, they're having these horrible waves in Germany. Brazil is having it really, so it flares up here. Then they kind of fucking cool it and they get serious because it scares the shit out of them. And I hate to say it, but that could be what happens here. I mean, I've heard New York is one of the hot spots right now. And, every day I check the New York Times and it shows where the cases are at relative to the 14-day average. And it was going down up until a couple days ago. And then for about a day or two, it kind of steadied out. And now it's going up again. So it's like, okay, we see how this virus works. Once it starts to increase, it goes wild and it becomes hard to control. And then it gets really out of hand. I mean, how many times did we hear about Germany did it the right way and they had it under control and Merkel did it better? And now look at it, it's exploding there. France, they're on their like third lockdown. The people are revolting against it. They won't do it. I think that's a lot of this. It's just people are sick of fucking being inside and they're sick of not doing anything or seeing their friends and they just can't handle it psychologically. I mean, I've had a little bit of a change of scenery recently and that kind of shook things up for me. But even being here, it's still the same problem where you feel like you're kind of stuck. You feel like you're plugged up because you can't actually see anybody. I mean, I've had a few people sort of talk about meeting up or whatever, but honestly, I don't know. I just don't feel that comfortable. I mean, I got on these dating apps because I finally fixed my phone. I just took my SIM card from my piece of shit Droid that's 4 years old from the Trump era. I got rid of that motherfucker, and now I plugged it into my iPhone, which is a broken ass piece of shit. It's also from, I think, 2018. So it's not a huge improvement. And it's like the screen is cracked and shit. So I think the battery's like leaking radioactive juice all over. There's like some kind of really. Let me get it out. This is my new phone, which incidentally was a present from my buddy Russ. So that thing is, just mint condition right there. So yeah, when I'm talking to that, it's just leaking magnetic radiation into my brain through my ear. The fucking home screen button doesn't work. It's busted off, so I have like the touch home screen. I didn't break it. I've never broken a phone screen really in my life, hardly. I don't party that hard. I'm not that hot. I'm not that cool. I've never really dropped my phone in a toilet or anything like that. I can't afford that. Are you serious? I can't even. I mean, I'm afraid to even take this and have them look at it and be like, "How much would it take to fix the screen?" That might only be $100 or something. But just, I'm so cheap. I don't know. I'm afraid to spend any money. Scarcity mindset really comes from someplace. If you grew up in poverty, if you grew up without having a lot of things, it's easy to have scarcity mindset. Because you go hungry. You're wearing hand-me-down clothes and shit, ugly clothes that don't fit, or Salvation Army clothes. But I digress. So yeah, I think everybody's in this kind of frisky mood. They want to get out. I mean, I've been walking around a lot, and to be honest, I don't know that it's safe. To the best of my knowledge, it's almost impossible to catch it outside because supposedly the air. But I have been going to restaurant, just getting carry out. I try not to be in any indoor space for longer than like a minute, or I go to Trader Joe's once a week right when they open, because there's the least amount of people there. There's almost no line. Because the idea is you don't want to be in an enclosed space with somebody who has it. And the smaller and the less, ventilated, the more dangerous the situation is. Although I have heard the subway is surprisingly not that dangerous because they change the air out in the cars every 3 minutes. So it is well ventilated. I haven't been on the subway. There's a lot of things that I'm sort of a little wary to do before I get at least one dose of the vaccine, one dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Get the Pfizer vaccine if you can, because it's a little bit more effective in the trials. But one dose of the Pfizer vaccine supposedly makes you 80% immune to getting it, and helps you. Definitely prevents you from getting it like seriously, I think. So I'd like to do that. There's certain things that I'm not really trying to go on a date probably with anybody. And like I said, I think it is going to be some kind of golden ticket. Like if you're a guy who's vaccinated, you might be able to do pretty well, I'd say, because there's not that many, I don't think. So I'm trying to get that ASAP so I can put that in my Hinge profile. I don't know. I feel like it might become some kind of like elitist class thing, or it'll be like a social status, a badge of social status. And probably the rich people and the powerful people will get it before everybody else and the rest of us. I mean, I'd like to get it. I'm a little wary because we don't really know. I mean, I heard that the effects start to wear off after like 6 months. It's likely that in a year we'll have to get like a booster shot. It's like, I don't think it's going to be the cure-all that like I saw somebody on Twitter the other day refer to this as a late stage, pandemic. And I don't know if we're really there yet. I say we're past midway, like we're in sort of like, I say we're about 60% of the way through. It's been a year. It's been a little over a year. By the fall, things will sort of start to return to normal. But Bill Gates, he said it's not going to be till 2022, end of 2022, until things are normal, that sounds realistic to me. Like people not wearing masks, you're not really having to be worried about it in any way. I'd say that's probably pretty realistic. Maybe a year from now, it'll be so contained that it won't really be a big part of our lives. but I don't know. I don't think it'll be like normal. I mean, and the effects of the vaccine, we don't know what they are long term. Not that I'm against it necessarily. At this point, what choice do you have? Like, it's either that or you might potentially, something bad might happen if you catch, which, like, I mean, in my personal news, in my personal life, I get a call from my mom the other day. Please call me. Real short message. And I'm like thinking, oh my God, what happened? This doesn't sound good. And I was real worried. So I call her and she tells me that, she was kind of trying to act normal. We're having a little conversation for a minute. And she's like, I got to tell you something. I'm like, okay. She's like, I've got COVID. She tested positive. She went to CVS. She said she'd been sick for a couple weeks. She went to the doctor. The doctor told her it was a sinus infection. She thought it was a sinus infection. She had like a real bad headache. And like she said, she had kind of like, what's the word? Discharge, and she couldn't taste that much or smell that much. She said she went to the doctor. The doctor told her it was sinusitis and gave her prescription for antibiotics, which is absurd because, I mean, clearly, it's not necessarily one of the typical symptoms of coronavirus to have discharge. Obviously, the symptoms can be all over the place because it just kind of triggers your immune system in crazy ways. But, I was so she was saying that her 2 week was 2 weeks from yesterday. And she said it wiped her out. I mean, she's been real tired. She's been in kind of, sleeping a lot. And I've heard that. That's not a atypical story from a lot of people who get it. It really wipes them out. It's like the worst flu they've ever had. They're bedridden. They're super tired. They have super bad headache. I mean, she hasn't been able to do anything. She went to CVS and got her test at CVS, which there's a chance maybe it's a false positive. Maybe she does have a sinus infection. But I mean, come on, it's like it's coronavirus time. Like it's probably pretty likely. But I felt bad. But I'm glad she's kind of recovering. She's on the upswing. She's past the 2 week mark. They typically say, I feel like in those kind of cases, it's like 2 or 3 weeks. Usually by 3 weeks, you're starting to feel better. So as long as she just rests, I've been messaging her on Facebook and just kind of checking in. She's just chilling, watching TV. But that brought it really close to home. I mean, I was there a month ago, so 2 weeks from yesterday was March 15th. I left there March 1st. They say it's 14 days is the typical or the max length incubation period. So I'd say it's pretty unlikely that she had it when I was there, or she caught it from somebody. Like they say, the average incubation time is 5 days. So anyway, I just hope she gets better. That kind of brought it close to home for me. But it's like, that's kind of the attitude for everybody. Everybody's just kind of going around like we're back to normal. Now there's vaccines, so it's safe to just behave as if without precaution, which feels, I mean, I walk around the West Village. I don't, like I said, I go into places, but I'll go to Tompkins Square Park. There are shitloads of people there. Washington Square Park, oh my God. I walked through that on Saturday night, and it was like fucking, I don't even know. I mean, it was packed, It was just like a lot of people. Everybody's in that fountain. People are smoking. I mean, it's outdoors. The weather's getting warmer. I guess it's atypical this time of year in New York. I mean, I don't recall New York has always been, Tribeca or Soho or something, those tall, thin alleys, downtown Manhattan. It's weird because the wind this weekend was warm. It was 80 degrees, I think, on Saturday, and it was like fucking incredibly windy. It was like apocalyptic winds. You'd be walking down. I was on 6th Avenue, and it's just like I almost got blown over by the wind. It's weird living near Midtown. I have like a whole new perspective on that whole area of town. I went to Kips Bay the other day. Kips Bay is an area north of the East Village on the shore of the East River. Really cool. Joe Franklin hit me to that. There's a lot of nice bars, nice library, nice old buildings, balconies. I went to this excellent health food restaurant that has a dish named after Jeff Ross, the roast comedian. Thought that was kind of funny. I'm getting that. I want that Flatirony building in there. Just adjust a little bit so we can see that. Whoops. So yeah, I've been walking around this, Kips Bay. I did a big walk over there the other day. I don't take my mask off, and like I said, I don't really go in any place. But I walk through. Part of it I was trying to buy some smoke. Typically, you have these nice gentlemen offering Coke smoke on the street. You'll be walking by them. They'll say it real fast on their breath, sort of as you're passing them. Nobody offered. I mean, I was hoping the opportunity was going to present itself, because you see people smoking blunts everywhere in New York these days. I mean, just everywhere. And I thought just the opportunity would present itself. I mean, coronavirus makes everything trickier, because I don't really want to have a conversation with a person that is selling something to a lot of people, and like I don't want to go up to a bunch of people and approach them and be like, hey, you know where I can get this or that. I mean, they just legalized it the other day, but of course it's going to take a couple of years or whatever to open the dispensaries. But I went in this place called Weed World, which was by the IFC, the Waverly or whatever, on 6th Avenue by West 4th Street stop. Weed World. It's next to that sex shop in the Gray's Papaya, in that corner with Cornelia Street. And it's like one of those trucks. They have those trucks that like sell like weed lollipops and shit. So I'm thinking, okay, I just walk in here and like buy the pre-roll's $20. You believe that? Felt like they have no concept of. I mean, that's absurd. I bought a pre-roll in Oregon. It was $5. It was fucking massive. Same thing in San Francisco. Although in California, they're typically $10, which is also, I mean, $5 is just right. For one joint, come on. But they quantify everything, so I guess it's 1 gram. So this Weed World place, I walk in, and I'm like, so this does have THC in it, and the woman tells me that it's full spectrum. It has CBD and THC, which I don't know. I just didn't trust it. I Googled it later, and it said there's almost no THC in it. So it was like normal price. It was $40 for an eighth, I think, which, like, what are you doing? I mean, you're just pretending to, like, that's like non-alcoholic beer. That's like O'Doul's or something, like. But I guess they're not breaking the law calling it Weed World. They can call it whatever they want, but. So I don't know. I just spent like the last couple of weeks just like walking around. I mean, I didn't want to buy it because I've had all these like pragmatic goals that I have to like achieve. Like just all these. My to-do list is like loaded. And I'm like slowly crossing it off one at a time. So like I said, I got my phone fixed. And oh my God, my other phone was just dying. I spent all this time looking at that fucking stretch. I spent like half the day like trying to get the fucking charger to like sit in the the fucking plug like the right way so it actually charge. And the battery would just die if I used it for like 5 minutes. It was just pathetic. So I had to get that figured out. Now I've got the internet on my phone. I've got 10 gigabytes of 4G data. So I can do multimedia texting now. I've never done that before. I've never sent gifts to people. I think they can like read when I've looked at their messages. That's kind of scary. People can tell I've got an iPhone. So I'm back in the game. How you gonna act like you know my name? That was a song these guys, Isaac, these rapper dudes that Jake used to play poker with in Columbus. That was one of their songs. Back in the game. I've been thinking about that. I feel like I'm back in the game. Now I can look forward. Like I said, I've been getting my to-do list. I got my books unloaded a little bit. I've been starting to fix the apartment up. I bought some flowers. Been to Trader Joe's a couple times. So I'm getting groceries for myself. Sort of like slowly rebuilding. Like I said, it's hard. The COVID just kind of blocks the whole process up, and things that should be easy, like getting a new phone. If you don't have the internet, it's kind of hard to do that if you can't go into a fucking store. And like, I just don't want to walk into a store right now, And I haven't yet. I figured out how to do all that shit from the Apple Store Wi-Fi. First, it was rejecting the SIM card. The host body was rejecting the SIM card. But I think I had to go through my provider. My provider also changed. Virgin Mobile was subsumed by Boost. I guess Richard Branson had better things to do, like go to outer space. Speaking of which, I think they need to outlaw private space travel. I find it disgusting. Just like a tourism for rich people. I saw this article today about, who was it? I think it was Richard Branson. Somebody was launching their private space mission, and they chose the 4 astronauts. They're civilians. They're not... I just find that disgusting. Like, that it's going to be this luxury tourism. And that rich people's like, the richest people in the world, this is what they're fixated on. Bezos and Elon Musk. These are the 2 richest people in the world. And their obsession is not with fixing this planet or helping their workers or being in the here and now. They're not hippies like Steve Jobs. They're not hippie philanthropists. They want to be Tony Stark. They want to colonize Mars. They think, our planet's fucked, so let's abandon it. We got to figure out how to get it to Mars. I guess that's what these fucking bastards always do. Imperialists, colonialists, explorers. Go to the North America, go to the Indies, go to spice trade. Amerigo Vespucci, Leif Erikson, Christopher Columbus, of course, Elon Musk. So, for guys trying to go to space, they don't have that much money, really. I mean, going to space costs a shitload of money. But I don't know. I don't find it admirable at all. It's just escapist. It's more fantasy, Marvel Universe type shit. Who gave these people that much money anyway? How the fuck is Elon Musk that rich? Like, Bezos, I get because it's Amazon. Tesla, what? They have cars. What else? He's not even Google. He doesn't even own our fucking data and identities and information. He's not even Zuckerberg. He's fantasy. He's something that these rich guys want to believe in. He's like their ultimate kind of fucking hero and ideal man. Tesla. He's just he's the entrepreneur dictator. He's from South Africa, right? I mean, didn't his parents make a bunch of money in like kind of apartheid schemes? And now he's making all this money off these like batteries that he, pillages from Venezuela. There's no ethical, part of their brain. That's not part of the equation. It's just like, what can we achieve? Let's pull the boat up the mountain. It's Fitzcarraldo this shit. We're going to fucking Mars. Forget that we've got, at least Bill Gates like gives a fuck about coronavirus. He like is one of the leading. He's been saying there's going to be a pandemic for fucking years. Him and his wife try to do philanthropy. Although apparently though there's all this secret satanic, there's satanic panic. People are saying this Lil Nas X video is satanic imagery, and he's got the sneaker that has got human blood in it. So people think, these Illuminati Satan worshipers are the elites. Bill Gates, he wants to vaccinate us so he can, I don't know. Those people have a lot less credence now that Trump's gone. When Trump was there, you kind of had to live in their world a little bit because Trump created a context where just anything could sound credible, which is not how it actually works. Now that shit's kind of refuted and disabled. It's not as platformed, Oh my God, listen to this fucking kid over here. This kid is screaming and crying. It's awesome. I love it. Can we get a shot of this? Let's get a shot of this. We're out here live on the New York City streets. What else I've been doing? So my to-do list, one shit at a time, very, very slowly. I had my big theme time radio hour. I had a big experimental thread on Twitter. I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about it today. It's like, how many people have I talked to face to face? I've had these kind of long text discussions with people. I got to call my dad. I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I talked to my mom on the phone the other day for a little while, for almost an hour. I mean, I didn't have a phone. But I'm still wary to meet people in person. And I've just been kind of, I don't know, I've been really into my books. I'm kind of like, I'm unpacking my books, so I'm like spending time with them as I'm unpacking them. Like you just buy so many of them. I haven't even, all these books that I've accrued over the last year through thrift books on my mom's house. That's really what I've been doing during the pandemic, curating my intellectual food source. But I haven't been reading because they've been stacked. They were literally stacked because I didn't have a bookshelf in my mom's house. So they were just stacked next to the fucking bed. I had a bed on the floor. I lived like a dog, not like a human being. I don't know if everybody else went through that. If you had a comfortable roost when coronavirus started, you're probably chilling. You have all your books. Me, I'm just sort of getting my shit together. I thought about hiring movers. I'm trying to get all my stuff out of storage. I got to re-up on the 9th, so I'm kind of on a deadline with that. So I'm trying to get online quotes about movers. This kid's crying again. I would love to move all my shit, and there's not that much, but it is 4 flights. I'm a 4th floor walk up. There's no elevator, so that kind of sucks. That's why I don't want to do it. And it's like, if you run a U-Haul, it's pretty expensive anyway, so you might as well just pay for the movers. If I could do it all for $300 or $350, I would do it. If I could just get it done. But also, I don't really trust the movers. Like, are they going to fuck my shit up? Like, this shit needs to be handled tenderly. It's antique books. These things. I mean, good God, I don't know. For as protective and as obsessed as I am with my stuff, because it really is the thing that weighs me down. My book collection. This is the reason why I'm not like just like a total global hitchhiking free Rolling Stone. Footloose and fancy free. My book collection. Since I've been in high school, I've been building this fucking massive albatross. I probably have. I don't even know. I mean, I've got 5 shelves, 4.5, and then more at home. So I have 5 or 6 bookcases at least, and I do read them. That's one of the things about poetry is you don't necessarily, you can kind of glean it. You can spend a night with it. First of all, a lot of the books are short. A lot of the poetry collections are 60 pages or 40 pages or less. And you can kind of like get the technique, you can kind of glean the technique and just suck all the poetic ideas and energy out of it and see that there's something going on with integrity. Like when it comes to poetry, I don't ever try to really understand anything. It's more just like, if you sat there and you tried to read Tender Buttons and like fucking, you could, but it would take a long ass time. But there is a pleasure to just read it and just see what the technique is and see what the oh my god, this kid's got real problems. You see the originality of the path through which the poet moves through the language, and that is like what is impressive about it. And you can tell when that's happening, even if you're not trying to like get total sense. I mean, maybe I overlook sense too much. I miss a lot of things that are just like completely obvious, I feel. Because I'm not really looking for that. I'm more just looking for like originality and in grammar or syntax or I mean, even with poetry that's like good, you have that. You have the word that is not often used, and that's what gives it power. It's the right. God damn, that kid is loud. These are the hazards of broadcasting live from New York City streets, everybody. We intersect with daily life. In the age of COVID, we have vans and helicopters, tourists, screaming babies. You never know what you're going to run into on these New York City streets, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. There's a lot of fun shit we could be doing. If once you have the vaccine, it does feel like, okay, I could collaborate with people. I could meet up with friends. Right now, I don't know. I've sort of shied away from that a little bit. I'm kind of I'm enjoying spending time alone. I don't even realize it, to be honest. That doesn't even seem like remarkable to me. It's not like, oh my God. It's just like, yeah, this is life. This is what I do. I mean, being sober. Now the kid's laughing. I don't know. Like there's certain things that are a lot easier because you're not like in your head about them. Like I tweet a lot more. I probably tweet like less significant things or less interesting things, but I'm like less, but they might have more kind of like normal sense and more kind of like structural integrity as far as like thought, approachability. But or even just going getting food or something. I don't even really. It's not, when I'm high, it might be like, oh my God, this is like so fucking scary, or like that guy doesn't have a mask, or he coughed into his hand outside, or the guy who's making my food isn't wearing gloves. Oh my God. Close up, psychological close up on that. Hitchcock, vertigo. Dolly out, zoom in on that little detail of life. But I'm glad to be talking to women on the internet. I'm having a lot of interesting conversations. I talking to this one woman who is a self-described conservative. You know, you find a surprising amount of those on New York City Tinder. I mean, maybe not surprising because, to be honest, all we were talking about this the other day in our lengthy text thread about the La Croix seltzer water, flavored seltzer water, and the glass condo people, and the sort of like simulation, the digital what's the word? Not holograph, but like synthetic, like influencers that aren't real people. I don't know. All these, a lot of the people in Manhattan and in New York City are super professional because that's what you have to be to afford to live here. So you see all these women that are like, they all have fucking pictures where they've traveled everywhere. They're doing yoga on a fucking mountain in Italy or whatever. They're standing on their head. They're wearing yoga pants and fucking. They're just achievers. They're super achievers. They're not really funky. They're simulations of people of achievement and like just uber professional. A lot of them went to state schools, Penn State, uh, Michigan. A lot of Michigan people. They work in finance. They work in marketing. You know, you do meet creatives. Also disgusting. You don't meet a lot of people who are like gnarly. I mean, maybe in Bushwick or whatever, but even those people probably went to fucking new school or something. They're not just like street people to some extent. It's just amazing. I mean, when I was on these apps like 7-8 years ago, I thought, oh my God, these people are way more impressive than me. There's no way they're gonna like me. Now I'm looking at it like, I'm 36. I've had a way more interesting life than them. I'm more interesting than they are. It doesn't matter that they make 80K and they can afford an apartment in fucking Manhattan and they work for Google or whatever. Like, they're drones. You know, they are digital. Carbonation is digital water, and they're digital people. Well, I don't know. They're not even as impressive. Like the algorithmically designed influencers and shit are like the optimum. They're optimized. These people are all just like cliches. It's like they all, good for them. Good for them. They fucking like travel the world and like work for Goldman Sachs and Henry Souls and shit, or I don't know, went to NYU. Like it's just New York is just a part of the resume. Of course, if you're a worldly person, if you're an important person, you got to live here. It's the world capital. I too am a victim of that mindset. I'm gonna put my shirt on real fast. I don't know. It's like I do feel like a little bit of an anomaly in Manhattan. Is anybody who's like a funky stoner creative probably, I don't know, they're old if they live in Manhattan, probably. They've lived here since the 60s or 70s, so they have rent controlled apartments. Or they live in Bushwick or something. Which, I don't know. I'm not going to get on the train. Not yet. So I've just mostly been enjoying the scenery, acting out the movie of my life on the big set of West Village. These beautiful, dimensioned, thinking about scale. I was reading about Rudy Burkhart. I got this great Rudy Burkhart coffee table book. Rudy Burkhart lived on West 21st Street with Edwin Denby in the fucking 30s. Same street as me, 2 blocks. I walked to Trader Joe's today, right past their house. 6th Avenue was their kind of mother road, where the F train goes. And one of the things it was talking about in that book is Edwin Denby was a dance critic. He was probably America's most celebrated and best dance critic. And it was talking about scale, New York City really has these huge buildings against which we look small. So one of the things was talking about was how long it took Rudy Burkhart to reconcile these things in his photography, to be able to capture both at the same time and sort of represent that. I like thinking about art in those kind of ways. That's like a conceptual approach. It's an interesting thing to think about scale. It's almost like this, like those little Brio trains. You know, when you're a kid, you play with the train set, so you're like God. You're huge, the world is small. Little trees, little trains. Sim Cities like that. Or Richard Scarry's Busy Town. Another Green World, Brian Eno's like that. I like those kind of games. Like I said, maybe you're like God. So one of the things that is a hallmark of Rudy Burkhart's work is, and Edwin Denby comments on in dance, like Merce Cunningham. A lot of Merce Cunningham's dance pieces, and they were all part of the downtown kind of scene, 40s, 50s, whatever, Black Mountain. Well, they weren't a part of Black Mountain, but anyway. Merce Cunningham talked about how he was fascinated by the way people move on New York City streets, how they avoid each other, you know, just the ballet of people walking on the sidewalk, crossing the street, moving out of each other's way. That's another thing in scale. This theater of the streets, these big buildings. That's kind of a backdrop for this dance. And so Merce Cunningham's, this is something you'll do. I know we did this in acting class a lot. Just walk around the room and, you know, don't run into anybody else. That's kind of an interesting incorporating this regular movement, and how New York City is just kind of like a program almost that, you know, designed to set up different variations of how we dodge each other, how we negotiate this scale, these dimensions, these streets. And I don't know, I find this stuff useful. You know, this is one of the things I like about New York school and these artists, and one of the reasons why I feel like it's important for me to live here, because these ideas artistically feel like my favorite in a certain way. I like a lot of the San Francisco work that I've been studying over the past few years. God, this guy's kid is just like all over the place. Dios mio, the guy says. Oh my God. Oh, don't come over here. Putting mask on this kid. God help us. All right, they're leaving. Where was I? I'm lecturing here, goddammit. You know, so, you know, this guy literally lived on the same fucking street as me. So thinking about these things, and I'm in the environment, you know, I'm walking around these buildings, I'm seeing 6th Avenue. I was just on 6th Avenue today, crossing the street, seeing the delivery guys, seeing other pedestrians in the context, you know, the backdrop of, you know, the avenues in Manhattan are so magnificent. The way they, at the end, it's blue. There is a little like trough of emptiness. It does, you know, they're so flat. 6th Avenue, you look up, you see Central Park, you see trees at the end. That's pretty cool. You know, the buildings are fucking massive, man. Like, there's this apartment building kind of famous around the corner from where I live called London Terrace. And a lot of famous people have lived there. Fucking Susan Sontag, I think, and Annie Leibovitz lived there. It said Bill Hader lived there. Fucking, I think Blondie, Debbie Harry, I think, lived there. But it's just massive. It's just a massive, it's a whole fucking city block I talk about it in my Chelsea Epiphany video from 2018, but it's just fucking. I'm curious why those people wanted to live there. Like, I mean, I'm sure they have elevators and stuff, but I just don't know what wouldn't you rather live in a brownstone or? I mean, I suppose maybe like you could get a 8-room apartment but it's a wide building too, so it's like, where is the light? The apartment's in the middle of that building. Like, what kind of light opportunities do they have? The art galleries are all in Chelsea too. Fucking David Zwirner, Paula Cooper. I went into the Vito Schnabel gallery the other day. They had this really excellent exhibit of all these angel paintings that I thought were really good. Thought it was interesting. Every painting was a different angel, and they were kind of like fucked up, and like they were a little bit like de Kooning, but maybe more graffiti influence. They were kind of post-night, there's a lot of neon orange, neon green, but it was kind of a mix of like a lot of technique and like vivid detail and HD kind of sharpness, and then just like the technique kind of lets itself go and becomes spray paint and more vague, more fuzzy. But every painting kind of had a soul, and they were different angels. I thought that was powerful. I'm curious about Vito Schnabel, because he's Julian Schnabel's son. And I don't know, they kind of own this coast, this west coast of Manhattan. Julian Schnabel has got the Palazzo Ciuppi, which is a phallic symbol. I've always been fascinated by. Palazzo Ciuppi is this apartment building that Julian Schnabel built or had built on top of a fucking like horse shed or something on West 11th Street. So it's in the West Village, right by the fucking Hudson River. Beautiful, beautiful location. Couldn't get any better. You see Westbeth from there, and it's sort of like this Italian villa or something, palazzo, I guess. Whatever, it's a palazzo. So it's just gorgeous. It's Mediterranean, but it's this beautiful pink. It's kind of this rosy pink. Like I said, it's very phallic. It has these beautiful fucking balconies and nice tile. I mean, he's an artist. He's very like material. He's got those plates and shit. But I like his films. I liked Basquiat a lot. And fucking Four Night Falls. And what's the one about The Diving Bell and the Butterfly? I think he made a lot of money. That seems like something he's good at. And he was able to build this fucking unbelievable apartment building. I mean, it is like this incredible... It's in New York. It's in the greatest neighborhood, in the fucking city. And it's like this total tribute to like himself, probably, kind of in a way. I don't know. I mean, he seems like just an interesting person, and I don't know. He was a part of that era where it was okay to be sort of like this egomaniac, raging bull type, masculine, just like have your cake and eat it too, lion of the art world. But I don't know. I found out about this apartment building from an article in Vanity Fair magazine. And it was talking about how Bono and the fucking Edge from U2, like Richard Gere, were looking at apartments there. There's like a swimming pool in the basement. And it's just beautiful. I mean, it's nice, nice wood, nice, like I said, tile work. It's all custom designed by him, beautiful paintings. And it's just, I mean, it's tall. It overlooks, I mean, the West Village, those buildings are not typically tall. And the fact that this guy built the goddamn thing, like, how much did that cost? Like, that's pretty unbelievable, Hashtag life goals, I mean, I don't know. It's a fascinating building, and like, it's a dream. That would be the ultimate dream, to just like get so goddamn rich and like powerful and successful. And he's an artist. He's a painter and a filmmaker. He's not I mean, I don't know. Maybe spiritually he's linked to the kind of 80s Wall Street type dudes. He's a hustler. Basquiat, of course, that film shows a lot of kind of interactions with like American Psycho type Wall Street art buyers, art collectors. You know, that one scene where he buys all their meals and he pays for all their wine and shit, trying to prove a point. And Basquiat, I feel like, was kind of I don't know if a victim of that, but there was some element of, he wore like those Versace suits and shit, and he was like making a lot of money. I mean, the art market was very hot at that time. That's what the whole gentrification in the East Village and shit was about. They had these galleries, and all of a sudden limousines and shit are showing up. Julian Schnabel figured out how to ride that wave into a pretty cool fucking life. I think he's pretty good as a painter. I mean, the plate thing is a little gimmicky, if you ask me. And that's kind of his most famous thing. But I think he does have good paintings. I think he's a good painter. I think he's legit. He just happens to be successful. He did the artwork, I think, for the Red Hot Chili Peppers Californication CD, which is, I don't know. A lot of time artwork doesn't come across in a CD booklet. Kind of gets fucking bastardized. So every once in a while I'll go look at Palazzo Chupi. Longingly, dreaming. I mean, I'm 36. I'm pretty far from Palazzo Chupi at this point. I don't know if I've got those skills. The but I don't know. I'm trying to learn as much as I can without the internet and without. I feel like a cliff dweller a little bit. These all these buildings. You look out and there are all these tall. This doesn't seem necessarily like a new thing to me. If you look at some of those cliff dwellings in the Southwest, New Mexico, or even other places, it's just a natural human inclination to live in this terraced, kind of tiered, like Machu Picchu. That's not that different than Midtown or Chelsea. People have a desire to have a good view, I think. Another aspect of Rudy Burkhart's work is like taking pictures of like crosswalks or the ground. So they were talking about the what was the word they used? Just to kind of like forget the word. It wasn't. It was sort of about just like the work of art doesn't need to like reach out to impress you or something, like the mediumness of it. I forget the exact word that they used. Not necessarily like a although some element of like a documentary quality, but like a lot of the effects of a Rudy Burkhart image are low key. They're not going to reach out and punch you in the face like a Walker Evans picture. They're not kind of sensationalized or exaggerated in that way. They're geometric. They're unexceptional to some extent, or I think part of it is finding beauty and structure in a place other people aren't looking, but also showing how things actually are. A lot of times when you're walking around in New York, you're looking at the sidewalk. You're looking at the things you actually see, shadows on the pavement, people's feet, gum, also buildings and things too. So getting those different levels, getting those different aspects, giving that into the work. Water towers. He's got a lot of, he's got famous pictures of like the Flatiron building that are on posters and shit, because that's in that neighborhood. Flatiron's at 23rd Street and 5th Avenue, intersecting with Broadway. That's why it's isosceles like that, because that's how the intersection at Broadway and 5th Avenue is. I don't know. Some part of me is like, am I just relearning these things? Like, I've already spent 10 years in New York. Should I go somewhere else? It's weird because I have, even though I've lived in New York sort of, you know, the past few years, I have felt like I was studying more the art of like the West Coast. And I wonder about that. I feel like every person who's from the East needs to go West and vice versa. If you're from the West, you need to go East. A lot of people from San Francisco come here. A lot of people from here go to San Francisco. Some of my friends went to, a lot of my friends went to the West Coast over the last year. And I've spent spots of time on the West Coast, but I've never really lived there. I wouldn't really want to do LA unless they were paying me. If I had a job that I needed to live in LA, some kind of TV thing or whatever, I might move there. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I could be comfortable there. I've spent enough time there. It does suit me, but it's also just kind of too easy and too normal. I mean, every fucking numbnuts musician, it's like Good Time Charlie's Got the Blues. Everybody's going away, said they're moving to LA. New York kind of cuts out the wimps to some degree. There is a little bit, you have to really want to be here. And I don't know, like I said, there's aspects, like I was looking at Philip Whalen yesterday, or even McClure, Joanne Kiger, West Coast kind of poets that I really admire. There's something a little bit too wide open. I think the sun in the scale, the mountains, the clouds, the ocean, Golden Gate Bridge, Bixby Canyon. This guy's seeing my live stream. I'm doing some shit, he said. All right, well, he could tell. You guys probably on Twitch. Doing some shit. You feel that in the work. The work has kind of a cloudiness. There's gaps in it. It's all over the page. It is more kind of open field and kind of free roaming. And I'm into that. That has informed what I'm doing a lot over the past few years. Did I get the whole lesson? Like I said, I feel like I've been away from the New York art that I love so much, and I'm only just now kind of reconnecting with it. Like Edwin Denby and Rudy Burkhardt. I haven't really gotten to study what they're doing in like 4 years, really. 2017, beginning of 2017, I was sort of really intensely loving and developing myself through a lot of these New York poets and filmmakers. And a lot of those people went to San Francisco and went west. Taylor Mead, The Flower Thief, they shot that in San Francisco, in North Beach. Or Jack Michelin, or Jack Kerouac, or Bob Kaufman. They all spent 10 or so years in New York in the 50s. And I admire all those people, but I really started out admiring Frank O'Hara or Ted Berrigan or writers of the New York School, Steve Carey. I mean, Steve Carey's from LA, so I guess that doesn't really count. But, those other writers are, the fact that they're centered in New York is kind of essential to the work. The technique, There's abstract expressionist, but it's mixed with a kind of pop art in a way. The way that Frank O'Hara, or especially the way that Ted Berrigan kind of synthesizes what Frank O'Hara does, and the second and third generation New York School people, Eileen Miles, or what have you, they kind of take off from Frank O'Hara in a way, but they update it. They make it more. Frank O'Hara has a kind of highbrow. He's always talking about Poulenc or some kind of super highbrow shit, some kind of ballet or dance. As Ted Berrigan talks about Pepsi, talks about jacking off, smoking pot, music, stuff you can relate to. Dad rock, maybe in a way, sort of the equivalent, maybe, to like the garage rock, Nuggets. It's psychedelic, it's free love, it's open. I don't know. I'm kind of a beatnik, obviously. Those values can be adapted and used. I feel like they are something that needs to be harmonized into. There was a lot of backlash to that kind of 60s hippie ideology. That's one aspect of it. New York School being in New York, it being a tough place, there is some relaxation, but there's also like a very high aesthetic standard. I don't know, sort of an oblique. It is, I don't know, the smartest, fastest. But there's also, I don't know, there's a kind of simplicity to some New York School stuff, second, third generation. Maybe that it gets from Black Mountain, William Carlos Williams, school, New York school. It does feel kind of like grade school in a way. Even Edwin Denby, but it's its own rhythm, and it's a modern rhythm. It's not just cut from, clothed in the cliches that your average drawing room poem that's in the fucking New Yorker is. It's a little more clipped. It's a little more angular. It's post-cubist. It's post-Apollinaire. It's sort of America's counterpart to that kind of Parisian surrealist, modernity, newspaper kind of grid structure. Thinking in these kind of more esoteric, in California, it's a little more spirituality, or, the kind of naturalist, obviously, more nature, more, it's more outdoors. New York, everything is cramped and small, and the apartment's small. The streets are packed. So the work kind of, fits into that. California, it's big. And I don't know. I mean, I love Philip Whalen, but a lot of times it is just kind of like a little too prosy or too normal speaking. It's very smart. And he's very deft with the way that he is packing the language and building the density of the art, even though it sounds just like a guy talking in a very kind of friendly, matter-of-fact way. It's all there. It's a casual achievement. So I'm on 47%. We're about halfway through, I guess. The hell is there to talk about? Yeah, I don't know. In some of my previous broadcasts, I was, obviously commenting on gender stuff. Oh yeah, so I was going to talk about this fucking. And we're all locked inside, and I'm not having a shitload of interactions with women. So, the crankiness kind of plays into it. But anyway, I was talking to this one girl we actually matched on both apps that I have. We matched on Bumble and we matched on fucking Hinge, which is crazy because, like I said, she's a self-described conservative on this fucking app. And I think she's just kind of like a Republican, either from Queens or New Jersey or something. She's probably Italian or something like that. Like, I forget what it said she does. I'm not sure if she was a lawyer. She was some kind of professional, business side of things, probably. But anyway, I had on my fucking Bumble is way more like progressive and kind of like, I don't know, strict about everything. So they have, when you're choosing your gender, just like the whole menu, anything you can think of, non-identifying, female, transition, whatever it is that you identify as, it's on the list. So I picked non-binary because, like, I think that is realistic. Like, I think that this conversation we're having about the duality of gender and, like, the fact that you have to choose one or the other, like, it is a spectrum. So I kind of agree with that. I think they or them is, like, maybe a better, more equalizing pronoun. So this girl, the self-described conservative, her profile also said something about how, like, one of her talents is, like, seeing through your bullshit. So, like, one of the first things she asked me about is, like, so what does that mean? Like, you're non-binary. What does that mean? So basically I described it like that. I said, we are prescribed these gender roles in our society, especially. It's like there are very selected, and there's a lot of influence to if you're a man, you play with GI Joes, you wear fucking pants, you shoot guns, you're a cowboy, you're masculine, you beat shit up, you got a deep voice, big muscles, you're not like you're not effete, you're not wimpy, you're not thin, you're not, whatever the cliches of that are, and the performance of gender is very impressed upon us. If you're a woman, you have to be X, Y, and Z, or you're not feminine. And so I was saying basically these things, and she was like, everything you just said was bullshit. It didn't make any sense to me. If you're a man, you are born with a dick. And I'm like, don't you feel like, as a woman, society tries to tell you that you have to be this, and, you're objectified. She's like, no, I don't feel objectified ever. I love being a woman. I love, that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, she was just like, she was not open to the fucking conversation at all. She was very old paradigm. She was very unwoke. And for whatever reason, she wanted to like make this the subject of conversation. Like, I think, like I said, because she smells the bullshit, she has to call it out. I don't know. My profiles may be portraying me as more like a normie kind of hunk than I am. Obviously, I don't have any pictures of me with like long hair and a beard. They're all from like 2014. I look super good looking in them, but I also kind of look like if I was 6 feet tall, I would look like a really good look, like all these guys. Every guy in fucking Manhattan, every guy I saw in Kips Bay is like some super chiseled, like really good looking, like 6 feet tall. He probably works for, like I said, fucking Goldman Sachs or whatever. He's like a marketing or like a business major from like Penn State. So like, I'm not that guy. I'm this guy. I got holes in my fucking clothes. I'm a genuine article. I'm a weirdo outsider. Who knows what the fuck I'm even doing here? And I don't know. I probably have the best conversations with people that I should be having these conversations. Like kind of interesting, intelligent, weird people. But if they're super achievers or they're like really stylish art people or like successful creatives, they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of too cool for me in a way. I'm like kind of an outsider loser, weirdo guy, artist. Like I do match with like smart, but people that are also maybe outsiders. I don't know, in a way. So I don't know. I felt like I was trying to like. It was weird, kind of finding myself in this position because I almost always feel like I'm like the bro ass, like unwoke, person, or like I'm not extreme enough. I'm not left enough. So like meet this woman that was like. I'm also just around a lot old. Like I'm 36, so the people in my dating pool are like 40 and shit, which is kind of cool. I kind of like it. I don't know. It's less pressure in some way. Like I don't know. They're smarter. They're more kind of stable. Maybe they know what they want. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fucking coronavirus has made everybody extra nice and kind of like willing to give anybody the time of day. So maybe I'm just benefiting from that. Everybody's been cooped up for a year, ain't been talking to anybody. So I'm sure we've all lowered our standards a little bit. We're all desperate. We just want to make something happen. I mean, I see parties and shit here all the time. I was walking down Bleecker the other day. And I hear all these people talking like, what the fuck? I look on the second floor. There's like this purple light on and shit. There's all these people inside having a fucking party. It's like Saturday night at midnight. Like, what the fuck, They've reopened all this shit. So people just think, let's go about our business. So, yeah, I don't know. I was like, we had a lengthy conversation about this, about non-binary. I think partially she was trying to figure out, what kind of genitals I had. So she said something about how she loved dick. So, I had to kind of clarify that. That may have been part of the intention of the conversation. But I don't know. I did feel like it was like, hey, if I can be an ambassador and like try to open this person's mind a little bit and like put these ideas out there. I mean, maybe I'm not the greatest mouthpiece for it, but like she was asking me about it. I did feel like I was doing like the good work to some extent by like trying to like educate this person, open their mind a little bit. I told her I'm going to radicalize her. So that's my new goal. Is to get this. I've been on dates with Republican chicks before. I went out with this Republican chick in Ohio who was like a Christian conservative. She was like a Bush era nutcase. And they're just hypocrites, man. And like they're brainwashed. I don't know. It's cultural. So I don't think it's realistic that I'm gonna like change this girl's mind. I think it's interesting that like it almost fuels it. The kind of hate or the like the fact that this woman is like so like ignorant. It's kind of like, oh god. But I don't know. It's like it's not. I don't know if I wouldn't say it's not a deal breaker, but it's like I don't know if I can get across to this person, if I can have sex with them. Like I don't know. It's a win for everybody. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna radicalize her. I'm gonna show her some trans literature, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if you can change these people's minds, but they're fucking out there and like. She said it was the media. I was the media. You know, we didn't. She kind of blamed it on the pandemic in a weird way. She was like, you know, we didn't even talk about this shit before. And then like the media just got in everybody's heads and like said that we're all, you know, non-binary and we're trans and it's a bullshit. You have a dick, I have a vagina. I'm a woman. You're a man. It's like I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Kind of old-fashioned, lady. But what's like, why do I connect with this lady? You know, I don't know. She seems like what is she? I mean, it's good to know that she's like so like forceful and like forthright with her ideas. That's important to get that out of the way. Obviously, I don't really see any future in the relationship, but I would definitely go out on a date with her and try and change her mind and, you know, let things lead wherever they lead. I'd be more than open to doing that. Could be an exciting adventure. I mean, that's part of dating for me, and something I've been out of, you know, the routine of doing for a long time is you're constantly going on dates with people that like you don't have anything in common with, and like it's like a war. It is like a battle. It's like Jesus Christ, like this person hates me. I don't know why. I'm trying to be funny, impressive, and nice, and like this person just like is attacking me, and like I had this one girl message me, and she was like, "What's that award?" Because I have a picture of my Be Free Award speech, which I don't know is maybe just like kind of tacky and stupid. Whatever. Seems to be working. I'm doing great. So this woman matches with me, and she's like, "What's that award?" I'm like, "Well, it's from the Be Free. It's from Brooklyn Free Speech Television. I won the Free Speech Award. Blah blah blah." She's like, "That sounds fake to me." I'm like, "You fucking like why? Why get on here?" Like maybe that was a shit test. You know, a lot of times like women are just trying to see how you'll react to shit. By like, hey, let me say something that's like, if you lose your cool. But it was just like, what I just thought, looked at it like, what kind of person would like get on and like try to belittle somebody like that? Like, to me, that's just like a hateful, mean-spirited thing to do. So I unmatched her. I was just like, I wouldn't want to date this person, you know? I hope she felt bad about it because it was like totally uncalled for. Like, I don't think it's fake. I told her that. I was like, I'm very proud of it. Like it's a public access thing, so anybody's eligible, but it's not fake. Believe me, I've seen fake awards. Okay, I worked at a restaurant which will go nameless, which won a 6-star diamond award. 6-star. Now that's a fake award. That was completely, and like it's kind of fake because it's like it's public access. It's not a fucking Emmy. I think it's better than an Emmy. I'm very proud of it. So I unmatched her out of self-respect. I don't know. That's kind of something I've learned about dating. Is just like There's no time to like try to pretend, I mean, if it was somebody that like I was really interested in, maybe that's a different story, and like it was like more playful and flirtatious. This was just like mean, and it was like the girl was not all that anyway, so it's just like, okay, I don't need to waste time talking to this person. I don't know. 5 years ago, that would not have been my attitude. I would have just like taken the conversation as far as I could have taken it, just for the sake of doing that. But I'm not like that anymore. I mean, this girl who's fucking transphobic, she keeps messaging me. That's the reason why I keep talking to her. And like I said, I thought it was a little bit, you're doing this personal kind of education with people. You're one-on-one. I don't know. It's always been kind of a form of theater for me. That's kind of my weakness as like a guy trying to be attractive, is like anytime I talk to anybody in a bar or whatever, it's like it always ends up just being like this weird performance that I'm giving for like one person, or like, I don't know. I like having I like trading essays, as my brother said. My brother said talking to my dad is like trading essays back and forth. It's like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I like that. I like trading essays. That's not really how conversation works in a lot of people's way of doing things. They don't like that. It's more about, I don't know, teasing, or like, I don't even know what the fuck, role playing. I have no clue how normal people enjoy conversation with each other, because I like sharing information, intelligence, wit, I don't know, knowledge, stories. I don't know, what the fuck. Most people don't like that. Most people like emojis and exclamation points. So I've been using shitloads of emojis and exclamation points, trying to give people good feeling through my texts, through my messages, and it's working pretty well. But this fucking transphobic, she keeps messaging me. So I was like, this is an opportunity. My friends in Kapuka Theater used to call it sessions. You match with people, or you go and you meet up with people that not necessarily don't have anything in common with. Or maybe they're strange, or maybe they need help, or maybe, I don't know, like, you're on a mission for some reason. You're there to, like, I don't know, perform some kind of it is a kind of like holy duty. You're there to like go head to head with them. I don't know, or readjust them, or present them with your counterpoint, or your sort of weakness as virtue point of view, your idiosyncratic dissident. I am not a fucking broed out glass condo person. I'm not jogging. I don't work for a finance company or a startup. I don't work for Google. I don't make any money. All these people are asking me, well, do you work from home? It's like, I'm unemployed. I'm a fucking bohemian. I'm an artist. Nobody knows what that is, unless you're rich as fuck, and even they don't know. Everybody's like a productivity mad machine, And I practice the art of living. I take my time. I stare out the window. I let it happen. I paint. This one girl. This is another bizarre. It's like you have this breed of these very type A people, and people whose parents send them to good colleges, but they're interested in art. They're interested in culture. So this one girl, you can tell she's like super, like I said, type A, super professional. She had something in her profile about, she has this, her friend's dad made her a sculpture that looks like genitalia or something, but it looks like spaghetti or something. I don't remember. So I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I love weird art. Or she's like, I was like, hey, I want to see that. That sounds interesting. She's like, oh my God, you sound so desperate. Why do you want to see it so bad? I don't know why she had to come on with like this like defensive, like, probably because I turned her on. She found herself attracted to me, so she had to like, oh, why do you want to see it so bad? Jeez. I was like, I like weird art. She's like, do you have any weird art? Not do you make any weird art? Not are you a weird artist? Do you have any weird art? It's like, what kind of bourgeois owner, fucking like collector, buyer? That's the only thing these people know how to do is fucking buy shit and make money and get degrees and answer the questions right, study for the test, get the job, go to work, wake up, answer emails, travel, do yoga, do handstands. I saw all these chicks and all their profiles are doing fucking handstands. Like, good for you. So once again, it's just like this challenge. My exes, her friends were all like that. They all had these names that ended in A. Laura, Angelina, Hayla. One of them lived in Malta. It's like, Jesus Christ, who are these people? They just travel the world. They have great jobs. They live in London. They live in LA. They live in New York. They live in Malta, for Christ's sake. I live with my mom for the last year. I mean, my family's never been out of the country. We don't fly on planes. I don't even know if my mom has ever been on a plane, frankly. Maybe a couple times. There's something very arrogant about traveling on a plane. All these people are like environmentalists. Like, getting on a plane is like the worst fucking thing you can do for the environment. You're flying all over the place. You're flying to Europe. You're flying to Asia all the fucking time. It's like, that's arrogant as fuck and hypocritical. Like, you're not a goddamn environmentalist if, like, you're an international traveler. That's something Bill Gates said. God bless him. The Asperger's ass motherfucker. He said, in order to help save the environment, he's going to stop flying as much. And he's going, well, he probably takes a private jet, I'm sure. He's going to eat synthetic meat. I'm down for that. Bring on the synthetic meat. I'll eat it. I don't give a fuck. What's the difference between that and, like, tofu chicken wings or whatever? Soy. They said the entire human race is going to be, they said every man is going to be infertile by 2045. It's not even that long because of plastic. There's so much plastic in our fucking food and in the things we eat out of. I guess we ingest all this goddamn plastic. Like I forget how much it was, but it was like every week we ingest like this much fucking plastic or something. Supposedly this plastic is making us infertile. I guess it's like Children of Men. Maybe that's the plot of that. 2045, men are going to be infertile. The soy boys. It's killing testosterone or it's killing sperm count. Sperm counts are like lowering at alarming rates. Maybe this is just paranoia and panic. Maybe it's fake news, to use antiquated. Remember fake news, everybody? Jesus Christ. Ay, ay, ay. So glad Trump is not the president. Feels like it was just yesterday, the fake news bullshit. But that's the crisis of masculinity in a nutshell. Men are going to be impotent. It means we won't have to pull out. Sorry, I mean, if that's really crude. Nobody watches. Dotson, see, nobody cares. We got Dotson. See, nobody cares. That's my show. See, nobody cares. There's a guy wearing suspenders and a tie and one of those white collars with a blue shirt, blue button down, the classic Wall Street look. He's trying to imitate fucking Gordon Gekko. Live from the meatpacking. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. I haven't said that in a while. Thought it's such a beautiful day. It's supposed to rain the next couple days. Weather today, I think it's 57 degrees. It's windy. Winds from the northeast. I'd say probably 15 to 20 miles per hour. We got a wind chill factor a little bit, but the skies are clear. Lots of sunshine. It's a clear day here in beautiful Manhattan. Coronavirus cases are going up, but they also made the vaccine. Well, like I said, now everybody can get it, or everybody over 30, but you can't get an appointment. 2045. I mean, Jesus Christ. I've been eating food out of plastic containers a lot recently. Maybe I shouldn't admit that. I don't use plastic fork though. I won't use outside cutlery in the time of COVID. Only my own shit. I wash it. I don't know. So we're quickly heading for Children of Men, or lack thereof. I don't know. Maybe that's how the world will solve the humanity problem. We won't be able to procreate. I guess they'll have to save people's sperm, from now or whatever, to use later. Refrigerate it now cryogenically. Freeze your sperm. It's going to be worth money. I heard this thing about B.B. King had 25 kids. He was married to his high school sweetheart his whole life, but he had 25 kids from different mothers. Or Screamin' Jay Hawkins is like that. He's got there's a website. Find Screamin' Jay Hawkins kids. Anybody who thinks that they're related to Screamin' Jay Hawkins can get a DNA test. And they all fucking have a picnic every year. How fucking crazy is that? I mean, there might be more relatives. Who's had more kids than that in this modern age? Maybe a sperm doctor or something, sperm donor. I guess a lot of those doctors, how fucked up is that? Jesus Christ. I've tried to be a sperm donor. I'm not tall enough. Once again, it's height discrimination. They want guys over 5'10". I think they kind of want Ivy League a little bit. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just an IQ test. They're losing out. My DNA is definitely worth it. Definitely worth, being replicated. You're watching Frankly Fabulous here on YouTube, available exclusively through YouTube. It's The Ross Show. I had a dream about Taylor Swift. Not on purpose. I've been having a lot of dreams recently. I think because I haven't had any THC in my life. It was low key. It was I think Taylor Swift is emblematic of this glass condo person and the kind of super professional achiever female of our generation. Just Taylor Swift is the CEO, go. Her dad was in finance. That's another thing that doesn't get mentioned, with all these famous people our age. Her dad was some super successful finance guy, and he bought they lived on a Christmas tree farm when she was a kid in Pennsylvania. Sure, he was some dude that made a shitload of money in New York, and just could do that, buy a fucking Christmas tree farm. He wasn't a Christmas tree farmer. It was just that was his investment. That was his milieu with which he imbued his money. He wasn't on a fucking tractor or some shit. But when, she decided she wanted to be a music star, a country music star, they like picked up and moved to Nashville. He bought a fucking house in Nashville. It's like, okay, you got financial money, you could do that. You're mobile like that. And of course, she hit New York in whatever year that was, when whatever fucking album it, Red or Shake It Off. Her song "Welcome to New York." It's been waiting for you. I remember they had that on fucking bus stops and shit, everywhere. It was like the campaign, Chamber of Commerce, like the PR campaign for the city. Welcome to New York. To all the fucking, like I said, the Nashville people, the La Croix people, the Southerners, the colonialists, the white people, the digital carbonation people, the algorithms, the simulations. She hooked up with Carly Kloss. Because if you're gonna be a badass chick, you have to have the coolest friends and the most badass friends. So it's like, who are you gonna be friends with? You're gonna be friends with Lena Dunham, because she's like, got the HBO show, and she's the artist, and she's a, writer or whatever. And you're friends with Carly Kloss because she's fucking like Victoria's Secret model. She's tall. She's the hottest. She hosts Project fucking Runway. She's like the next Heidi Klum. She's married to Kushner. There you go. There's the axis of that right there. The kind of New York. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to be uncomfortable in that way. We just want to be super optimized, super achievers. We want to make money. We want to be the best in our field. We don't really give a fuck about the ethic of that, whatever that means. Taylor Swift, like, she can fucking kind of appropriate country music and use that to kind of launch her career. And then once she has all these kind of basic Walmart bitches buying her CDs and they're kind of acolytes, T Swift, then she can, get the fucking dude from Fun, Jack Antonoff, to like produce her shit, and like fucking Bon Iver and shit. She can have indie cred. I don't know. I think she just tries so hard to like be the best at it's like a high school thing. It's just like the other girls hate her, so she has to she has to have the coolest everything. Oh, this is my friend. This is my new friend. He's the coolest. He's Jack Antonoff. He's fucking whatever that band is. Fun. He went out with Scarlett Johansson. Like, now he's my buddy. He's gonna produce my shit. It's all corny. It all sucks. It's all just hollow. There's no. I mean, I think Taylor Swift has got, like, anybody can come up with like a little bit of a meme, a sound meme, if they're really in tune to that. But she does it. It's hard for me to picture Taylor Swift as like a musician, like jamming with her, and like her like loading the van and shit. And like, does she have a fucking snark? Like, what's with Taylor? Does she go to Guitar Center and shit? I don't know. Maybe she's an interesting writer, but I don't know. I think her maturity, like as a person, comes across sometimes. But also just like her, I don't know, she seems like really afraid and like kind of protective of like, I think she's aware that people like fucking hate her. And like she doesn't really know what to do with that. Because she thinks that she like did everything right. I don't know. I saw like her fucking Instagram from like 4th of July. And like she owns some house in like Rhode Island or something. And it just looked like a fucking like Tommy Hilfiger ad. It looked like she paid all these like really good looking people to like dress up like that. And like, there doesn't seem to be any like, they all just seem afraid. Like they're just trying so hard to like not look uncool. But they don't look cool or interesting at all. They just look, I don't know. They just look like waspy fucking like Eastern Seaboard douchebags that are like, I don't know, were able to buy their, way into that kind of influence or notoriety. Like, that fucking Big Machine Records, the guy sold the catalog to that fucking, I don't know, this guy. Who's the guy? Scott something. So now it's like her worst nightmare because this guy's just a total piece of shit. He's probably a Trumper, and he owns all her songs. So she's like re-recording all of them. It's like, well, you're a part of the Nashville corporate bullshit. It's like, I don't know. I do think the music business is probably like evil in a certain way. And they are just, when they sell your image and when you're that big of like a celebrity, they're selling your body. They're selling the way you look. They're selling your flesh. They're selling your being. Like, that's got to be very dehumanizing. And I don't know. I can't help but think that that's like evil, or like evil behind that. It's like exploiting something. It takes away your humanity. You become like this mascot or this obviously. So I think with this dream, I think Taylor Swift was sort of emblematic. This is what I see. I mean, this is what you see. Here I am out in fucking the meatpacking district. You see the people walking through the screen and shit. Like, they're super overachievers. They're imperialists. They're capitalists. They're killing the world. People want to deny it through their personal consumer habits, buying organic or being ethical in this way or that. But essentially, it's just masking your narcissistic greed and, I don't know, being born into sort of the aristocracy of these structures. It's all, famous people's kids, rich people's kids. It's bought and paid for. It's not a meritocracy. There was another article I saw. It was like 8 of the top 20 iTunes songs are oldies. Bryan Adams, Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks. It's like, yeah, because music today fucking blows. Like, the radio industry was bought and paid for. They don't play things based on whether or not they're actually good or enjoyable. If something enjoyable gets on the radio, it's just like a fluke. Well, there's a song on the radio I actually liked. Like, what was that Weekend song that just came out? It was sort of enjoyable. Blinded by the Light. It's like so cliche. Like, you couldn't get a more cliche lyric. That's why they have to use it. I'm blinded, blinded by the light. Ooh, I'm blinded by the light. I don't know, I don't know you. Everything else is just, I don't even remember it. Everybody knows it. I mean, Taylor Swift, like I said, she's able to come up with like memes from time to time. Shake It Off. I asked some girl on Hinge what her guilty pleasure song was. She said Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. They all do. Because it's safe. I don't know. Taylor Swift has become a guilty pleasure. Whereas she used to be the coolest, the most popular, tall blonde, blue eyes, Aryan prototype. That's not cool anymore. Being friends with Carly Kloss, it's not cool. He's married to Kushner. She's married to a Kushner. She's basically Ivanka. But it's like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of creepy the way that Taylor Swift, like, it was almost like she was like trying to like, uh, like glom those characteristics or like inherit those characteristics or like that, chameleon, like by being around Carly Kloss. She started to dress like her. She started to like, she cut her hair kind of like her. And I think Taylor Swift was even like the act on the Victoria's Secret fashion show. And she was wearing lingerie and shit, sort of. Almost like she was trying to like upstage the models or like show that she could do it. I think she's one of those people that's just like, I can do that. Oh, they're getting attention. Oh, I can do that. I'm good at everything. I'm the smartest. I'm the hottest. I'm the tallest. I'm the thinnest. I'm the coolest. I'm the most laid back. I'm the most popular. I don't know. I'm beginning to feel like I said in these online dating conversations, that what I am has more value than it felt like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. Everybody's kind of achieved it. They raced to the top, and they traveled the world. They did handstands. For what? We're still trapped in this mortal hell. Our flesh is, we could die at any time. The planet's dying. Men are going to be infertile. It's white boy summer. We have an unconscionable guilt karmically, a debt we could never pay. The reckoning is here. Up until very recently, Donald Trump was the goddamn president. There's shootings. What is like fucking cheesy, man? Like, what was that video with like all the different famous people in it? It was just so bad. It was sort of like Sin City, but like very neutered. Like, I don't know. She needs more DIY approach, I think. She needs to be more from the ground up, from the inside out, We need real humanity, real life, honesty, organic, but like not in the fucking health food way kind of values, things that come from real humanity, listening, presence, intelligence, feeling, sharpness, local culture. The things that you can't get on the radio, you can't get at the Grammys, you can't get on the Billboard charts or on American Idol. The very thing that American Idol is not. It's not Pepsi. It's not your Instagram perfectly curated self. Maybe it's TikTok. I don't know. I think TikTok's just the newest thing. People are always fast, dumb pop culture chasing kind of people. They always just think, oh, the newest thing, I got to get on that. That's what young people are doing. If I don't do that, I'm not young, I'm old. I can't be old. I got to be cool. I got to be young and cool. I got to get on TikTok and try and figure that out. And it's the newest thing. I feel an obligation to be a part of that. All right, we're on 9%. Thank you for watching. It's a frankly fabulous show. We'll be back on soon. Is there anything else I need to say? Just in summation. And in conclusion, I don't know. Get well, stay safe. Now's not the time to let your guard down if you're out there. Like the cases are going up. I know for me, I'm going to be spending time inside. I just went to the grocery store today. Be cooking, be reading. Going to be enjoying my new super sour D's. Creative, anxiety reducing, body healing, pain absolving, perfect 7G. Going all the way to 7G on this sour D. You know, the Kardashians are all the aspiring Kardashians. They're just they sell clothes. You know, they want to be in Kmart so they can be billionaires like Kathy Lee Gifford. They're the Olsen twins times 8. They've expanded the Olsen twins. They franchised the Olsen twins. Lululemon, Heels, what else we got? Death by Pizza. I don't really want to die from pizza. It's windy. We got the hell winds, the apocalyptic hell winds here on the eastern seaboard. You know, the karmic values of this region are very much alive. We're living amongst them. Stay safe. Get vaccinated if you can. Get the Pfizer. Get on Hinge. Get unhinged. It's hot boy summer. I've amended it. It can't be white boy summer. Chet Hanks. You know, you thought Tom Hanks just was perfect. You thought he just had it all, and he was just this like, how could you have it more together than Tom Hanks? And then you see Chet Hanks, and you're like, oh shit, how the fuck did that happen? So my back will be going to sleep soon. So good night, everybody. Sleep tight. Start spreading the news. We'll be here. We'll be back on soon. Make sure you like it and subscribe. It's the Frankly Fabulous Show live from New York. Take it easy.